Hello everyone. Let's get started making our intro title for our All About Me project. We're going to use Photoshop 2020. If you type photo in the search, you should see whatever versions you have. We're going to use the 2020 version that you should have installed. And we're going to go down here to Create New. Go to the Film and Video presets because this is for a video and we're making 1080p videos here. So they're going to be 1920 by 1080 as the final product, and for our titles they should be exactly the same size. Your images, however, remember they must be much larger than that in order to be able to animate. Over here on the right you can see those resolution numbers there. Just change this title and we're good. So the year is 20. The month is September, so 09, and today happens to be the 25th. That's a 6-digit date code that I want you putting at the beginning of the files as you create them. The name for this will be Title, All About Me, and Intro. And that will tell us exactly what it is. When we click Create, you can see that we have a blank document here. Control minus and Control plus are quick ways of zooming in and out without using the magnifier. And the first thing that we do here is, of course, save it. So File, Save As, and go to your actual document folder and then into your project folder, and you'll save it right here. Just click Save because it's already a Photoshop file and we already gave it our name, so save it just like that. What you're seeing here are some guidelines, and we are going to be typing in this inner area here called the safe zone, because you don't want your words going all the way up to the edge. And in fact, with broadcast TV, this outer edge can be completely cut off. Okay, so let's adjust the settings for our text tool. We're going to start off by centering. Just leave that color black for right now. And you're going to increase the font size. The largest number for drop down is 72, but that's still not going to be big enough. We can actually click and type in a number here, 150, and enter, and that's going to be a nice big font size right there. You always want to have a bold version of the font if it's available. Arial does have several different kinds there, narrow and extra bold and italicized. And you want to make sure that you're not clicking and typing on these, because what you'll see here is that it goes right off the screen. If I go ahead and click yes, you will see that it names it Lorem Ipsum. That's some nonsense text. It's actually Latin. That doesn't distract us by actually saying something, and we can concentrate on the appearance of the text. This we don't want, so I'm going to press delete on my keyboard to get rid of that layer. And I'm going to draw this corral right here from one corner to the other to show you that Photoshop is helping us out here. These are some suggestions that are kind of letting me know when things are centered. I'm just going to use the top half for the first part of this title right here. And you can see that the text actually just wraps around and disappears if there's no room for it. You can just start typing here, All About Me, and then make some changes. So if I want this to be a different font, I could go and look at these fonts, but notice it's not actually changing the font over there. So what you need to do is make sure that this is selected. The easiest way to select things, because sometimes the text is off this little text box, it's out of the corral, is you can hit Control A and it will select all. That works in lots of different places. Now as I go down and I change my font, you can see it changing. That's not the easiest way to do this. For me, I like to just click in the box and select. Let me zoom in a little so we can see it, and I can see that maybe 250 is going to be a little easier to see. And now I'm going to click and just go down with my down arrow. Now notice that the me has disappeared. Some fonts are wider than others. And what we're looking for is something like this, big and bold and easy to see, so that the effects that we're going to add to it can really take hold. Something like this, it's not going to work so well. It's a beautiful font, but it's not what we need for this one just now. So I'm going to go down and just keep looking. Definitely stay away from anything like this. Way too hard to read. Something big and bold. This is a lot of different ones. Don't be silly, okay? And you can just go down and keep going so that you have something a little different than everybody else. this is again too hard to read for something like this. So it needs to be highly legible. This could work, this could work. That's even better, a bold version of Bookman Old Style. But again, there are a lot of different ones, so you can find something that's different. These are really not good. They have some transparency inside the letters. The things that we're going to do with our text, that really causes a mess. So stay away from Comic Sans too. That's not really used much anymore. Here we go, Cooper Black. And now I need to actually reduce the size. Let me try 230. Looks just about right. So I'm going to say, yes, I want this. You can see the layer created there. It's a regular layer. We can turn it on and turn it off. And for this assignment, I want just the black and white version turned in. And then we'll get to some of the blending options that change the style of the letters. And for step 3, we're going to add our name here. So if I click and drag from this bottom corner, I can keep my name, say, down at the bottom, or take up the bottom half and change it to, you can put your first initial and your last name, or your first name and last initial, if you're really not comfortable putting your full name on there. It really should just be one little line. And so let's find a different font. So this is one of those very few instances where if you really want to have a script type of text, I'll let you do that. It still should be kind of as big as possible, and don't pick anything too crazy, but there are some that look elegant and scripty, and so that does look like a signature. And so this is, again, that one time when I think it's okay to use that. You can reduce the size of a text box after you've got it all set up if you want to. I'm going to click the Accept and then the Move tool and maybe move this down. Again, it's helping me keep it centered. Maybe put it over here. Signatures often go in the lower right. And let's look at those layers again. We got our signature, All About Me. Maybe move that one above it if you want to. These can be rearranged so that All About Me is above the signature one there. And this is actually a little out of balance to me, so I'm going to bring it down like that. There are other options as long as it stays really visible. You could get somewhat creative with the positioning here, but this is good for turning in for a grade. Black and white, 2 different fonts, All About Me wide across the top, staying inside the safe zone at all times. Now, if you want to, there are also some titles that need to be created for your categories. So I'm going to show you that real quick. 2009-25 title, and my first one is Animals. Notice I have 2 of these open now, and I really broke a big rule by not saving this first. So I'm in trouble. File, Save As, and make sure that you click Save on that. And it's already there. Control S will also do that very quickly. Alright, so now when I turn it in, it'll actually show this part. This does not autosave on a regular basis like online programs do, so you really have to get used to Control S Save. Alright, so here's my title. I want Animals. I'm going to draw a text box, and I'm going to make it as big as it can possibly be and see how legible I can make this. So Animals, and it's centered, and I can choose maybe a different font. Let me find something. There was a zoo one earlier that's kind of cool that would work for something like this, but I'm just going to look for something because I want to really be able to see it. So that was Gill Sans Ultra Bold. Notice that now that I've got it selected, I've lost that. You can type Gill, and then I can see the Gill Sans Bold Regular, Ultra Bold, and it's condensed. Okay, let's try that. And now I can figure out my font size here. Let's try 400. Nice, big. Introducing the category. I'm going to say yes. And then look at my text box here, going to Layers, selecting it, And I'm going to change this. Notice I clicked inside the text box in between a couple of letters in order to do that. And I can then move this, and again, it's helping me center this category right here. So for the moment, I'd like you to save a different title on each one. If you think about it though, you could duplicate that layer, change the word to the new one, and make one with your categories, just one file, and have different layers that you can turn on and turn off depending on what you want to save. So that is another option for those of you that are getting comfortable with managing your layers. But this right here is the animals. Let me go ahead and File, Save, and I needed to pick the place right here and save. Notice that neither of these has little asterisks on there now. If I were to make a change, it automatically puts the asterisk, and I know it hasn't been saved. Even though I didn't really change anything, as soon as you do something, it says, wait a minute. Now I don't want to hear anything about, well, it just didn't save, because you can't even close Photoshop without it saying, hey, don't you want to save these changes before quitting? So always say, yes, you want to save those changes unless you really did something messed up and you want to go back. So make sure that you're turning this in. We're looking at turning in the Photoshop file. Include the text boxes, one for All About Me and one for your name. All the text has to be in the safe zone. And All About Me is large and looks bold, not one of those skinny or scripty fonts. And your name should be easy to read.